Welcome, Sens Talk.
Here comes Santos with a pass across. He scores! He bats it in! Tim Stutzler wins it for Ottawa. Triple Grant is going to put the finishing touches on an Ottawa win. See you later. Go Sens, go!
Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon Plant, and I am your host today. Your Ottawa Senators took on the other nation's capital of the United States of America. The Washington Capitals are in town. It's the 51st state versus America. I'm just kidding. I'll just end it there. But Ottawa takes on the number one team in the National Hockey League, the Washington Capitals, today. So a tough matchup for sure for your Ottawa Senators as Leevi Merilainen gets to start again. Now look, the last three games Leevi Merilainen has started, not a shock. Ottawa has won all three straight. They've won three straight, looking to make it 4 in a row tonight against the Capitals, who are like 8-0-2 in their last 10. They are on a run of their own. So this is a tough and very formidable opponent. So let's see how they do. It was definitely a fun game to watch and a very even game. Probably, in my opinion, the most even game Ottawa has played with another team this year in terms of chances and defensive output, offensive output, goaltending. This was such an even game. You can't be really upset with the result. But we'll get into that in a few minutes here. We'll save that. That's what the recaps are for. We're going to recap this from the beginning to end. So let's stay at the beginning here. Jakob Chychrun returns to Ottawa, his hometown, for the first time since the trade. I'm glad to see that Sens fans gave him, a nice round of applause when Ottawa welcomed him back on the big screen. A little part of me was a little concerned that he would get booed for whatever reason. Thankfully, that was not the case. It just didn't work out here, and I wish him nothing but the best. I personally like Jakob Chychrun, but in terms of just the side he plays on and the amount of money he's going to command on his next contract, it was never going to work out here unless you wanted to trade Tom Chabot, who's an integral part to this leadership group. So that wasn't going to happen. So the writing was kind of on the wall, unfortunately, there for Chychrun. Really does suck it didn't work out, though, because for such a local guy, so many local connections, that really wasn't fortunate to see him go. But again, great to see him doing so well there in the other nation's capital of the United States, in Washington. Now, again, Leevi Merilainen starts tonight for your Ottawa Senators, while Logan Thompson starts for the Washington Capitals. Now, Logan Thompson and their backup goaltender, now, usually it's Lindgren. I think it was Hunter Shepard today. By the way, Hunter Shepard, I think I have a nice little fro going here, a nice little curly hair situation, but my goodness, that guy's got some fro going for sure. But Logan Thompson, I was talking to, and I apologize, somebody on Twitter, I forget, so many notifications, sorry. They were talking about how, I think it was Nick Spence, said that, how is Logan Thompson not being considered for Team Canada at the Four Nations? And fantastic question. He was unreal today. Now, speaking of unreal, Donovan Sebrango has been very good for Belleville. It's an unreal story and an unreal moment as Donovan Sebrango makes his National Hockey League debut after a strong NHL camp where, frankly, he was honestly one of the bright spots in preseason and in that camp. Definitely earned a shot just from that alone. But also this year with Belleville in 28 games, 13 points, 3 goals. A +4. This is a guy that has only been getting better and better and better since being brought in to Ottawa from Detroit in the DeBrincat trade. And you know what? We'll talk about it in the game notes, but he actually had a very solid game. But what a story for this kid. 27 ECHL games, 198 AHL games, now finally getting his first NHL opportunity. A local kid as well, grew up watching your Ottawa Senators, baby. Look at your screen right now. This is from Kim Sebrango, of course, his mom. You can see him in that awesome Alfie 1,000 game shirt in the arena. So this is a guy that's been a Sens fan since the beginning, and seeing him get to play NHL minutes with his hometown team that he cheered for, such a special moment. But you think it's special for us. Imagine for his family. Look at your screen right now. Kim Sebrango, his mom, who, is very active on Twitter. I've interacted with her a few times. She is an absolute beauty, so passionate, and loves her son so very much. You can just sense it through Twitter alone, and you can see it here on your screen right now. What a special moment. Suddenly somebody's cutting onions in my studio here. I'm not going to lie. A really special moment, and that's really what it's all about. Sports is about bringing people together and these special moments, and it's really awesome to see how special it was for her, and the rest of the family, and of course for Donovan as well. So congratulations to Donovan Sebrango, a well-deserved NHL debut for him. Now, as well, Michael Amadio returns on the fourth line, so they're going to steadily bring him back into the game. In fact, he had the second lowest time on ice today for forwards, so Not really an impactful return there for Michael Amadio, but after missing 10 games, it makes sense to kind of slowly ease him back into things. So let's get into the game. To the first period we go, and not much going on, to be honest with you. A couple big saves for Leevi Merilainen and a couple for Logan Thompson, but after 20 minutes of play, it's tied at 0-0 still. Sebrango in that first period looked pretty good to me, and he looked pretty solid throughout the entirety of the game. Honestly, we'll talk about this in the end of the video, but Ottawa's defense today was unreal, and they've been unreal for a decent stretch as of late, and you got to give kudos to Travis Green and the Ottawa Senator coaching staff for how good this team has been playing. Basically, Ottawa is pushing guys out to the perimeter way more than the average in the National Hockey League, which is really an indictment on this coaching staff and the adjustments they've made to our defensive scheme. It really shows, and that's why, on top of some brilliant goaltending from Allmark, at times Forsberg, and as of right now for sure, Leevi Merilainen, it's not a shock to see our defense really skyrocketed and improve. Ottawa's penalty kill, by the way, they didn't allow a power play goal today. I think they're 15 for 16 in their last 4 games. I mean, it's unbelievable how good they've been. So Ottawa's defense is certainly not an issue, but unfortunately, their scoring is. Because look, again, let's talk about the defense for a sec. 35 minutes into this game, over halfway through, the Capitals have been held to just 7 shots. We're talking about the Washington Capitals, who have won 8 out of their last 10 games. The Washington Capitals, who are first in the entirety of the National Hockey League right now in the standings. The Washington Capitals that are firing on all cylinders. The Washington Capitals with Alex Ovechkin chasing Wayne Gretzky stats. A Washington Capitals team with Jacob Chychrun putting up, frankly, a point-per-game pace, essentially. This is a very solid team. Protas for the Capitals as well. 36 points. Very good young player. They have a lot going for them right now. So the fact that Ottawa's containing them so well is an indictment, again, on how well we've improved defensively and as well in the net. It's a nice 1-2 duo there. And Ottawa, in that second period of play, really got some good looks there on Thompson. Whether it was just missed chances, where there was a great chance where it just kind of passed Batherson. It was on a 2-1 and it just slid right through his stick. Couldn't get his actual stick on it, so there's no shot. That was probably a tap-in goal. There was a few moments like that in this game, no doubt about it. Tkachuk was everywhere, 5 shots today as well. So, Ottawa certainly did everything they could to score against Logan Thompson. But unfortunately, Logan Thompson was not having it. He was like, I don't think so. I don't think you guys are going to score on me today. That's a little bit of a hint there for you. But after 40 minutes of play, Ottawa led by 7 in shots, 17-10. And this is now the 13th time this year in the National Hockey League that the Ottawa Senators, through 2 periods, have given up 0 goals. That's the best in the National Hockey League in that stat. That's unbelievable, considering we've had 4 different starting goaltenders this year, and we are missing a couple of our defensemen that are regularly starting, like JBD and Hamonic. We have 2 Belleville guys in our blue line right now. I mean, that's pretty good. That is very good. So kudos again to the Ottawa Senators. Their defense is unbelievable. As we go to the third period of play, Ottawa continues to play so strong defensively. They're pushing. No doubt about it. Logan Thompson is just standing on his head, just like Leevi Merilainen. But in that third period of play, the Capitals really begun to push. There was a sequence where Ottawa, for about 10 minutes, didn't even have a shot on net. So in that third period, the Capitals were definitely the better team. And that's why you have a goalie like Leevi Merilainen in net, who's going to be like, I don't think so. I'm Merilinsanity. I'm not going to allow a goal. And he did that in the third period of play. Shut the door multiple times. I thought it was over. I thought the Capitals were going to put one home. But no, Leevi Merilinsanity said, No, not today. And the peak of this was early on, about 7 minutes into the third period of play, where the Capitals would go into the power play. After Ottawa got like 3 power plays in a row, you knew the Capitals were going to get the next one. They do. And if it wasn't for Leevi Merilainen, they score on that power play. I mean, he made a couple of huge stops in tight with his pad, literally in the air. Stopped a couple of OV one-timers as well, which of course, I cannot imagine how difficult that is. I mean, we all know where it's going to be shooting from, and he still finds a way to score so often from that spot for decades, okay? So this is a different generational type of player. So that was an incredible moment, and it kept Ottawa in it as we go to overtime. Yeah, overtime. And you know what? Can't even be mad with that. Yes, you want the win. We'll talk about it in the game notes. But all the teams we're competing with right now for those final wildcard spots, again, I'll save it for the game notes for more of an in-depth breakdown, but a lot of them did very well today. So we definitely like that point. And again, you can't be mad with it because of how even this game has been. Both teams had their moments that were a little better, of course, but overall very, very even. So you take the point, but you want that second point. You desperately want it. So we go to overtime. Leevi Merilainen, a few massive stops, and the entire, basically sold-out crowd of the Canadian Tire Center chants Leevi. Leevi. I mean, that was unbelievable. I haven't heard that for a goaltender since Ollie and Craig Anderson. That's how you know Leevi Merilainen is doing something very, very special right now. I mean, an unbelievable moment that I'm sure Leevi Merilainen himself will be remembering for quite some time. But unfortunately, a couple minutes later, I mean, somebody had to win this game, unfortunately. And you know what? Unfortunately, it was not us. Alexander Ovechkin kind of coming on the rush along the hash mark and along the boards. Picture perfect shot over the blocker shoulder of Leevi Merilainen to win this in overtime for the Washington Capitals. The United States of America, I guess, wins this battle as the Capitals will take down the Ottawa Senators by a final score of 1-0 in overtime. By the way, interesting stat, and again, shout out to Claire Hanna for this. I heard it just before I turned off the broadcast from her. Apparently, Alexander Ovechkin with that goal has scored against the most goaltenders individually as a player in NHL history, which is unbelievable considering the league's been around for over 100 years and there's been thousands and thousands of players to play. That tells you all you need to know about how generational of a player this guy is. And again, you can't even be mad. How can you be mad after that type of game? That was probably the best loss of the year, which sounds so stupid, but really, anyone could have won that game. That was a playoff game, basically. Potentially even a playoff preview. I mean, if the standings align the way they kind of are right now, could be the case. So, again, that was a hell of a performance by Ottawa defensively. Even offensively, they got some great looks. The power play did not do well, of course, 0 for 3. That's not great. But again, they pushed. They got some offense. Thompson made some big stops, but they definitely missed those opportunities. Again, there's a couple of clear looks. Tap-in goals were missed. Shots were stopped where maybe they could have, had better shot selection. But these are nitpicky things. Because again, it took Alexander Ovechkin, the best shooter in NHL history, to put a picture-perfect shot to end this game. So I'm just being a little nitpicky, to be honest with you, because this was probably... I mean, I'm not mad. Honestly, I'm happy with the point. In our last 4 games, we're 3-0-1. Points in all 4, 7 out of 8 points. I mean, that's pretty solid. So, can't complain again against the best team in the National Hockey League. It literally took a generational shooter to end this one. So, no complaints from me. What I will complain about, though, is the playoff race. Now, Ottawa, with that point, they keep pace. They don't really fall back behind. They still have games in hand, so the point is huge in the grand scheme of things. But Detroit and Columbus won today. Montreal is currently tied right now, so they could win. Tampa is currently in overtime, so they could win. So rough night scoreboard-wise for the Ottawa Senators, no doubt about it. So thankfully, they at the very least got a point, but you got a big weekend coming up. You got the Boston Bruins. Got to win those games for sure. Now, as I've mentioned a few times in this video, I'm a big fan of Merilinsanity, Leevi Merilainen, and again tonight, there's a reason the CTC was chanting his name. He had a fantastic game, faced 28 shots, stopped 27 of 28 for a .964 save percentage. Again, it took a generational shooter, the best in NHL history, to end this game against him. That's how good he's been, and that's what it's going to take to take down a guy like Leevi Merilainen in overtime. So he's been fantastic, and as I kind of mentioned already, Ottawa in their last 4 games is 3-0-1. Merilinsanity, of course, it started all 4 of those games. He should start on Saturday for sure, maybe even Sunday, probably not, but I think he should start Saturday. In those 4 games, he's also gotten 2 shutouts at .972 save percentage, a .74 goals against average, below 1 goals against average. Unbelievable. Haven't seen numbers like this since the Hamburglar. So Merilinsanity is certainly in some good company there. And on top of all that, by the way, when Ovechkin scored there, that broke 120-plus minute shutout streak for Leevi Merilainen. That was 2 games in a row, 60 minutes in a row, where he shut out the opponent. So, I mean, let's give him a round of applause. And he also, again, stopped 100 of the last 103 shots he faced. So, I mean, it does not get any better than that for Leevi Merilainen. What a performance. And he literally did everything he possibly could to help Ottawa win this game. Now, Donovan Sebrango, first NHL game, honestly looked good. Did not look out of place whatsoever. That third pairing there with Manapolo looked very good. Cleven with Jensen as well looked solid. Cleven, by the way, great game, 4 blocks and a hit. Sebrango didn't really do much in terms of the score sheet, but if you look at your screen right now, there's a couple opportunities where he broke up, for example, on a great back check. Scoring chance that probably would have went into the back of the net. So he had a very good game, no doubt about it, especially for his NHL debut. And by the way, Madden Paulo, maybe he's a big part of that because he's looked so good so far in his first 11 games of his NHL career. And I'm not kidding when I say when Hamonic or JBD were both returned, one of them should not be here instead of Manapalo. I'm just going to be honest with you. Manapalo has been better than both of them so far this year in his short stint so far. Now, again, Ottawa, their scoring issues continue. They are like below 20th in the National Hockey League for goals for. They're averaging way less than 3 goals a game right now, just above 2. That's just not going to cut it when you're getting elite goaltending like this and solid defensive play. It gives us a chance to win, but if you want to win and not just have a chance to win, you got to score, of course. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully they can get that going this weekend with a huge back-to-back. But again, there's a couple of those missed opportunities in the back of the net, and we're probably looking at another stolen game by Merilinsanity. But we'll see what happens. The next game is on Saturday at 3 o'clock. We'll see if they get back on track and get back in the winning ways. Now, with that, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. As always, appreciate your support. Go Sens, go.